What is happening, guys? It's your boy TC back with another video. So we're talking contracts in this video today. There's 5 players that we'll be discussing who have their contracts due to come to an end at the end of the summer, and these are 5 first team senior players. So the main one, of course, we do know is Aaron Ramsey. It's been announced by the club that he's not going to be receiving a new contract. And in terms of how the relationship has ended between himself and the club, personally, I'm not happy with that. I believe the club should have shown him slightly a little bit more respect. He's the longest serving member of the squad as it stands. He's been with the club for a number of years. He's won us at least 2 FA Cups single-handedly by scoring important, crucial goals, in my opinion. And the club have definitely, in my opinion, disrespected him. Of course, I don't know. We all don't know what's taking place behind the scenes. The agent must have been asking for a hell of a lot more money than what the club was offering. He may not have been part of Unai Emery's plans. Unai Emery probably does not rate him, or the situation in terms of what he was demanding was deviating from what the club was essentially trying to achieve in terms of wages, etc. And he was asking for a hell of a lot more than the club could afford. But obviously, we do know that there's a huge restructuring taking place within the club itself, and maybe Aaron Ramsey didn't fit into those plans. But it doesn't still stand at the fact that I'm a huge fan of Aaron Ramsey. I didn't want to see him leave the club at all. Extremely disappointed. Of course, he's still only 27 years old. Very, very vital when he came through. Of course, we know he suffered a terrible injury, and I do believe that definitely affected his progress a while back when he got his leg broken at Stoke. But still, he's not getting a new contract. It has been confirmed in the general public domain. Apparently, he's not been given a reason. Where does he end up? We don't know, but it seems as if he's definitely heading out of the door. The only disappointing thing really here is it's the same story. The contract's been run down right to the last minute. In terms of his market value, he's actually valued at roughly about £40 million. So essentially the club are letting £40 million just walk out of the door for nothing. Someone will sign him on the wages that he's demanding due to the fact that he's not going to have a transfer fee attached to him. He has essentially been relegated to the C team. We saw him playing against Voskla, and that team was pretty much made up of young kids. It didn't have none of the senior players whatsoever. It was the B team and the C team, which included a lot of the young kids. But it looks like his exit is actually begun, and the demise of the relationship between Aaron Ramsey and Arsenal has been extremely poor, in my opinion. It's been handled terribly, terribly bad by the club. But of course, these things happen in football. Players come and go, and Aaron Ramsey is one player that I'm very, very sad to see go. Another player on this list, and again, very, very controversial figure, if you like, in terms of should he receive a new contract, should he not get a new contract, is Danny Welbeck. So of course this season he had been in fine form up until that terrible injury he suffered, the ankle injury. The time frame that we do have is 2 months. Apparently Unai Emery likes Danny Welbeck. A lot of the internal staff at Arsenal do like Danny Welbeck, and apparently a contract may be on the table depending on how the recovery goes. So we obviously purchased Danny Welbeck from Manchester United a while ago, and he came in for minimal fee considering what the market was at the time. So he's 28 years old, and he's not peaked as well as we would have wanted him to, in my opinion. Essentially, he was very, very promising as a youngster at Man United. Obviously played under Fergie. Fergie could transform any player to a world beater, but came to Arsenal, stop and start, affected by plenty of injuries during his time at Arsenal, including this one. So it depends, apparently, in terms of how the recovery goes. He's a fantastic squad player, in my opinion. Also, as mentioned, that this season he'd actually been in fine form. I believe he was playing for the contract. A lot of players seem to start kicking on, really putting their head down and performing their best in the contract year. Does he want to stay at Arsenal? I do believe he would want to do so. Only problem is he came in on high wages. Does it fit into the structure that we have at the club, or the structure that's trying to be achieved by the club? We don't know. But he will be another player that will certainly might be potentially heading for the exit door. Will I personally miss him? Not really. It will probably create space for one of the younger players to come in, namely Reiss Nelson, who's currently on loan at the moment at Hoffenheim in Germany. So if he does leave, it definitely will create space for one of the younger players to actually come into the squad, or maybe the club may certainly go out and actually try and find someone on the transfer market. We don't know, but we will have to wait and see. Another player on this list is Nacho Monreal. So we do know Nacho Monreal is getting on in age. He's 32, 33 years old. Been with the club for a while, been a fantastic servant during that whole time. I believe he's been extremely professional the whole time, but I do believe his time he moves on, he's at that point in his career that I don't believe he can stay playing at the high level for a very long time, even though last season, saying that, he was one of our best players. Him being Spanish, him being an elder statesman within the squad, he may certainly get handed a new contract, maybe a one-year extension by Unai Emery. We don't know. But as it stands, his contract is due to expire at the end of the season. No talk is actually surfaced in regards to whether if he will be receiving a new one or not. He's been hindered by a few injuries this season, so his season has sort of been a stop and start season. We've not seen him feature heavily. Of course, we lack in the left back department. We've seen Maitland-Niles being plugged in once or twice recently in the game against Voskla due to the lack of left backs. Of course, touching on that Maitland-Niles situation, I believe that they're killing the player. The club is really purely because the young man is not a left back. And when I watched him against Voskla, yeah, he performed as a professional would, but he seemed a little bit dejected. But we'll talk about that in another video. But Nacho Monreal, he may certainly get handed a new contract. That's my gut instinct, due to the fact that, one, he's going to be a senior player. Two, he's not going to be demanding a lot of wages, I do believe. Three, he'll only be a short contract. And four, is Spanish, and I do believe Unai Emery would want someone in the senior rank that will be able to communicate the players and actually deliver his message in a way that is fully understood by the rest of the squad. And of course, Nacho Monreal being a Spanish speaker, he will be able to relay that message by the boss. But we'll definitely have to wait and see how this one also develops. Fourth player on the list will be Petr Cech. So Petr Cech, when he came in from Chelsea, quite a controversial move within the footballing world. Of course, ended up signing for something like £10 million. We didn't get the best Petr Cech in terms of point we got him in his career. It wasn't that Petr Cech that played under Mourinho and won those titles a few years back. However, saying that, he brought in a wealth of experience. When he came in initially, he sort of stabilised what we had at the back. And up until that point, we didn't really have a decent goalkeeper. So his first season performed absolutely well, in my opinion. Second season, we could see the gradual demise. He was sort of declining gradually, I should say. But it's been fantastic for us. A number of mistakes made over those seasons, of course. But in terms of the calibre of player coming into the squad, absolutely fantastic. I was happy when he got signed, and I do believe in that window when we signed Petr Cech, he was the only player that we signed during that transfer window. And I remember people being up in arms and absolutely disgusted by the fact that we'd only brought in a goalkeeper. But nevertheless, he served us well. I do believe his contract won't be renewed on this occasion. He may get offers from elsewhere. I highly doubt that. The guy is 36 going on to 37, so he may find himself in a coaching role. Will it be at Arsenal? Will it be at Chelsea? I'm not too sure. But he's one of those players really that I wouldn't want to see get a new contract. It will make space for one of the younger keepers. We've had Martinez rotting in the reserves as a reserve goalkeeper. He barely features. He's been patient. So hopefully, if Petr Cech makes way, we can get to see Martinez in the cup games, etc., so that he can get a little bit of game time. Of course, we know Bernd Lerner has been brought in, so that void has been filled in terms of the #1 replacement. However, for some of the reserve keepers, I do believe in particular Martinez, it's time that he can get a few games under his belt for us. Of course, we do have also Spina, who may be actually signing a permanent contract in Napoli. That's yet to still develop. We'll wait and see on that one. Final player on this list will be Stephan Lichtsteiner. So he's only recently joined us from Juve on a free contract. fantastic professional in my opinion. 34 years old. He's overachieved in my personal opinion. He's over exceeded expectations. Every time I've seen him play, he's been absolutely fantastic in terms of how professional he is, how he conducts himself on the pitch, the leadership he shows. But I don't believe he warrants a new contract. I believe he was handed this one-year contract really in order for him to bed into the team so that he gets to know the playing squad. But his main capacity, I do believe, moving forward and how important he's going to be, will be a coach as one of the first team coaches, of course, moving forward. You see him when he's actually on the bench, he's actually barking orders to the players on the pitch. So that's absolutely fantastic to see from a player. I don't believe the club will renew his contract. However, I believe he will be remaining as a coach, and he will form or he will be part of the coaching staff at the club. And he may start off with the younger age groups, but eventually I do believe he will work his way up to be part of the senior coaching staff. But I do believe as well, moving forward, he's going to be an extremely key figure in the team. We've seen the improvement of Bellerin this season. Of course, we've got a new manager, we've got new coaches, etc. But I believe that's also partly down to him mentoring Hector Bellerin. You see multiple images during training of the two of them talking and conversing. So I believe Hector Bellerin has learnt a lot from a veteran defender who's played at the top level for pretty much all his career. But fantastic servant. We've only had for only a season, and I doubt the club will issue him a new contract. So those are the 5 players that have their contracts coming to an end with the Arsenal. If you do believe something completely different to myself, please let me know in the comments below in terms of if the players should be moved on or if they should stay. But as usual, guys, again, please do let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please do make sure that you do hit that subscribe button. So once again, guys, it's your boy TC from I'm Gonna Talk TV, and I'm out.